Hi, it's Lesley Fightmaster, and today's class is Yoga for Runners. And we had a couple of people ask for this class. Jen Painterly asked, as well as Stephanie Newis. So thank you both for suggesting Yoga for Runners. So we're just going to start standing today. Take your big toes together, your heels slightly apart, and press evenly through all four corners of your feet, the base of the big toes, the little toes, the inner and outer heels. As you do that, begin to press your thighs back and lengthen your tailbone down toward your heels. And lift your chest, lift your belly, and draw your shoulder blades down your back. On your next inhale, reach your arms out around and up. As you exhale, just bring them right back down. In and out through the nose, breathing. Inhale, reaching up and stretch. And exhale, bring the arms back down. Inhale again, reaching up. Spiral your triceps in toward each other as you exhale. Hinge from your hips and fold all the way forward. Bend the knees if you need to. Inhale, make a nice flat back, lengthen your spine. And exhale, fold in, hips right over the heels. Shift your weight slightly forward. Keep the belly lifted as you inhale to rise up. And exhale, Samastitihi. Inhale again, reaching up, lengthen. Exhale, hinge from your hips and fold. Inhale, come halfway up. Offer your heart, and exhale, step back to plank pose, top of a push-up. Pausing here with the heart forward, and then bring your knees down, shift forward about an inch, lower all the way down to your belly. Inhale, cobra, peel the shoulder blades again down to the heels, and then exhale, make your way into down dog and bend your knees for this first one, stretching the chest back toward the thighs and keeping the hips up high. And then just begin to straighten the right leg and straighten the left leg, bending one knee and the other to warm up the hamstrings. A lot of times when you're a runner, the hamstrings and the hips get very tight, so we'll work on those areas today. Reach your heels down, stretching back, lift your belly, look forward, either step or hop the feet to the hands. On your inhale, look up, lengthen. As you exhale, fold. On the inhale, rise up, and exhale, the hands down. And again, inhale, the arms reach. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, and step to plank. And lower chaturanga, shoulders no lower than your elbows. Inhale, press through your hands and feet. Roll the shoulder heads back, keep your belly lifted. And exhale, come to down dog, making sure your arms are shoulders distance apart and the feet are hips width. Spread your fingers wide and root down into the base of the fingers as you lift up away with your forearms. Draw your belly in, look up, step or jump the feet, then inhale. Exhale to fold. Inhale to rise up. Exhale and bring the hands back down. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, come halfway up to lengthen, and exhale, step or float into chaturanga. Inhale, take a nice long breath, opening the front of the body, and exhale, stretching back into downward facing dog. Inhale, float your right leg back and up. As you exhale, step it right next to the right hand, taking your left knee down. Inhale and reach up through the arms. Spin the triceps in, sink forward, and place your hands just above your right knee. Try and draw the right hip back and the left hip forward. Make sure the right knee stays over your ankle as you sink in. Stretching the back left thigh and the hip flexor on the right. On the inhale, we'll straighten the front leg and fold forward for Ardha Hanumanasana, half splits. So we're on to the right heel. Lengthen the spine as you pull your toes back. and then we'll rebend the front knee and step back right into down dog. Inhale, float your left leg back and up. As you exhale, step it through next to the left hand. Take the knee down on the right side and reach up. If you need more padding on your knee, you can always fold your mat over. Bring your hands, clasp them just above your left knee now. As you keep continuing to sink the hips forward, draw in your low belly. Try and pull the left hip back as you send your right hip forward, making sure the knee's over the ankle. Then inhale to straighten the left leg and exhale to fold forward, pulling the toes back, coming onto the left heel and continuing to pull your left hip back. Rebend the left knee, tuck your back toes and come to plank and lower down. Inhaling, upward facing dog, and exhaling into down dog. Right leg back and up, and this time we'll bend the knee and open up the hip. Press evenly through the arms, try and reach the left heel toward the floor, then square off your hips. Step right in the middle of the hands and inhale into warrior two. Make sure again that your right knee is over your ankle and you're gazing over the fingertips. Make sure also your knee is directly in line with your second toe. Let's drop the left arm in reverse. As you exhale, rebend into the right knee. Draw the shoulder blades away from the ears. Inhale, lean forward, take right forearm to right thigh, or you can take your right hand down to the pinky toe side of your foot. Reach your left arm in line with your left ear. As you inhale again, make your way back into warrior two, and as you exhale, windmill your arms down and move through your vinyasa. You may also skip the vinyasa and go right into down dog, and if you ever need a break, just push the pause button and rest. Left leg up, bend the knee, open up through the hip. Again, press evenly through the arms, through the shoulders, stretching back and then looking forward. Step it right up next to the left hand, right in the middle of the hands, back foot flat, and come into warrior two. So you want to be lined up front heel with back arch. That's why you would step the foot right in the middle of your hands. Make sure the knee is over the ankle, lift the belly, and drop down through the tailbone and the low back. Gaze over the fingertips, and let's drop the right arm reverse. Get a nice side stretch as you exhale, rebend into the front knee. And inhale to come up, lean forward over the left leg, take left forearm to left thigh, reaching right arm over, or take left hand down to pinky toe side of the foot, and still reaching the right arm forward. Spin the right tricep down towards your face, and on your next inhale, come back into warrior two. As you exhale, windmill the arms down, and step back, plank pose, and lower through chaturanga. Inhaling up, and exhaling back. We'll walk the hands and the feet toward each other. Take a forward fold on your inhale. Take your big toes with your first two fingers. Lengthen your spine. And as you exhale, fold forward all the way with a nice long spine. Keep your neck long. Let your head just hang right down. Draw your low belly in and gently rock your hips right over the heels. Soften your shoulder blades, still away from the ears so you have no tension around your neck. And take a couple long breaths. On the inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, bring hands to hips, and inhale all the way up to stand. So take a quarter turn to the right side of your mat and step your feet out wide with your feet parallel. Take your arms out and then onto the hips. Inhale to lengthen and exhale, fold. Then another inhale, make a flat back. Exhale, try and keep your flat back as you fold all the way down. So we want the outer edges of the feet parallel, so the toes will point in slightly toward each other, and squeeze your outer hips and your inner thighs toward each other. On your inhale, lengthen the spine and look up. As you exhale, grab your big toes. If you can't reach them, you can keep your hands in the middle of the mat or just walk them out a little bit, or maybe hold on to your calves. Drawing down just a little bit deeper again into the hips and the hamstrings. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. Take an inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, hands to hips, and inhale back to center. And now put the toes out and the heels in and line up your knees with your toes. Rest your hands on your thighs and gently rock from side to side. So as you're in this pose, we want to try to drop the tailbone down, lifting your frontal hip bones towards your low ribs, and then keep pressing the knees open, so toward what's behind you. Pause in the center, reach up through the arms, spin the triceps, and still drop the tailbone down. Keep the belly lifted, so really getting into the hips here and the inner thighs. And then we'll straighten the legs and release your arms. Take yourself back to the front of your mat, and as you inhale, bend your knees, come into Utkatasana like you're sitting in a chair. Exhale, fold forward, straighten the legs. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, step or float back. Chaturanga. Inhale, pressing through the hands and the feet. Exhale and stretch back to down dog. Inhale, float the right leg back and up. As you exhale, step it up by the right hand. Stay on the ball of your back foot and come into high lunge, into crescent pose. So make sure, again, your knees over your ankle. Lengthen through your low back. And we're going to bend the left knee, lightly tap it down. As you inhale, straighten it. Try to keep your hips as low as they are. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten the back leg. And then walk yourself a little bit closer. Line up your front heel with your back heel. Square up your hips and shoulders toward the front of the mat. Inhale, folding forward, hinge from the hips. And exhale, fold into pyramid pose, Parsvottanasana. If you're a little bendier, you can walk your hands back, facing your fingertips toward the back of your mat. Continue to pull your right hip back and press down into the base of the big toe on the right foot. Take an inhale, looking forward, and step back to plank and lower. Inhale back into upward dog, and exhale, stretch to down dog. Left leg back and up, inhale, and exhale, step it through by the hand. Stay on the ball of your back foot. Make sure your knee is over your ankle. And then we're just going to bend the back knee to lengthen out the low back. And then we'll straighten it. Exhale, bend it. So you might touch the ground, you might just hover, you might not bend the knee at all if it doesn't feel good. Exhale, bend the knee. Inhale, straighten the leg, but keep your hips really low. Exhale, bend the knee. And step it in slightly. Line up front heel with back heel. Inhale to lengthen your spine. Exhale, folding over the straight front leg. So you can stay there. If you can't reach the floor, hold on to your ankle or your calf. Or if you have blocks, you can use blocks. You can put one block behind your front ankle or one block on either side of the front leg. Press down into the base of the big toe of the left hip as you pull that hip back, or the left foot as you pull the left hip back. Step back, chaturanga. Inhaling into upward facing dog and exhaling back to down dog. Right leg up, inhale. Exhale, bringing it through for pigeon pose. So take your right ankle over by your left wrist, but try and square up your hips by pulling the right hip back, and make sure your left toes are straight back behind you. If you have any pain at all in your knee, you're going to come out of this pose and take an alternate hip stretch. If your knee is fine, you can stay all the way up or you can fold forward. So an alternate stretch I'll show in a moment is on your back, taking your right ankle just above your left knee. So you don't ever try to stretch out the knee, but the knee is like the gateway to the hip. So if you have discomfort or pain in the knee, a lot of times it means that there's tightness in the hip. But you must be careful of your knees. Take a couple of breaths and to make our way back up, swing your back leg all the way around. So now you can just kind of see this is the alternate pose on your back. So you are welcome to stay with that the whole time. Or we'll step back into downward dog, lift the left leg back and up, and exhale, step it through for pigeon. And reach through the back leg, make sure your toes are straight back behind you. And your knee is just a little to the outside of the hip. Pull your left hip back, send your right hip forward. Inhale to lengthen your spine. You can stay all the way up or come down to the forearms, hang out there, or you can lengthen all the way down. Up to you. See how it feels on your hip. As you're here working on stretching out the hips, many times the hips are very, very tight, especially if you're a runner, and this pose can feel very, very uncomfortable. So I can just say, stay with it as long as you can. If you need to come out of it, come out of it. Take a break. When I first started doing this pose, it was so uncomfortable. Inhale to make your way up, and we'll stretch back again into downward facing dog. Looking forward, and step or jump to seated, and we'll take Baddha Konasana. So this one's also good for the inner thighs and the outer hips. So open your feet like a book so the soles of the feet face the ceiling. And as you exhale, you'll hinge from the hips and extend forward. So you want to, again, lengthen out your spine as much as you can. And let your outer hips spin down toward the mat. And we'll come halfway up, inhale, exhale, round yourself down, forehead toward the feet. And you're still kind of externally rotating your hips. So the upper thigh right into the hip socket. Imagine you've got two hands that are kind of pulling down there and grounding you right along the hips. Now extend the legs out. Same idea here, grounding down through the hips. Pull the toes back for Upavista Konasana. Sit up nice and tall. As you exhale, you're welcome to come forward. However, if sitting up tall you already have a great stretch, then don't come forward. You can just stay sitting up. If it feels okay to come forward, then walk yourself any amount. Keep the toes and the knees pointing up toward the sky. And again, squeeze your outer hips, squeeze your inner thighs, and keep your quadricep muscles firmed. So whenever you're stretching your hamstrings or your adductors, your inner thighs, we want to keep the belly of the muscle in the leg nice and strong, the quadricep muscles. Now we'll take our left leg on top of the right leg for Gomukhasana legs. This is Gomukhasana cow face, another hip stretch. And then either you can stay sitting or you can fold over the legs. If your knee does not go on top of your knee, totally fine. You can take the top knee, the left knee over, and extend the right leg straight out in front of you as an option. Take a couple of breaths here into the hips again. Inhale and make your way back up. And bring your hands over the right. We're going to spin all the way around so that the other leg is on top. So now right leg on top. Inhale to lengthen the spine. And again, if you have a good stretch, you'll stay there. Otherwise, you can fold over your legs. And if that's not good for you, keep the right knee bent and extend the left leg out. And that can be your modification. I used to do this pose a lot, these Gomukhasana legs, because my hips were so tight for such a long time. And this was one of the only poses that I could manage to do to open the hips without hurting my knees. So I spent a lot of time in this pose. And after a while, my hips did start to open up a bit. All right, so come out of this and lie down. Take your feet hips width apart for a little bridge pose. Make sure the outer edges of the feet are parallel as you lift up into bridge. And you can keep your palms flat down or clasp the hands and roll the shoulders under. Keep reaching your tailbone toward the backs of your knees. And keep your belly lifted to protect your low back. So belly muscles engaged. Chin away from the chest. Spiral your thighs in toward each other. And then let's exhale and lower back down. And just resting a moment. And again, we'll come on up into bridge. Roll the shoulders under or palms are flat. Spiral the thighs in toward each other. Take the breath a little bit higher in your torso, more toward your chest and your upper back. If you take big, big breaths into the belly and a back bend, you'll feel compression in your low back. So we'll try to avoid that. And keep lifting the chest toward the chin, but keep the neck nice and long. Again, spiraling the thighs and lower back down. Let's hug the knees into the chest. Rocking a bit here side to side. Give the low back a little massage. And then rolling back and forth. Take a couple rolls and then come up into a seated position. Bending your right knee, bring your right hand right behind your back. Inhale, lift the left arm up, and exhale, take it across to twist. Then every time you inhale, sit up nice and tall to lengthen your spine. Every time you exhale, roll the right shoulder back and widen through your collarbones. Pull your left toes back to keep the left leg nice and active. And inhale, bring your head to center, and exhale to unwind. Straighten the right leg and bend the left. Reach up through the right arm on the inhale. Exhale, take it across and twist. And again, inhale, sitting up nice and tall to lengthen. And exhale, roll the left shoulder back. I just did a tutorial today earlier about twisting and the safe way to twist. So if you are interested in a little more about twisting, check out that tutorial. Should be up shortly. Nice long breaths. Inhale the head back to center and extend the leg, reach both arms up. And as you exhale again, hinge from the hips, come forward. And you want to try and get nice and long through the spine. So don't think about getting your head down to your legs, because you don't need to round your back any more than it will already round. Keep pulling your toes back to keep your legs nice and active. So again, when you're stretching the hamstrings, you want to keep your quadricep muscles nice and firm. And extending through the low back as well. So all of these stretches are very good for runners. Inhale, lift your head, and exhale to release. And lie back, hugging your knees into your chest. And let's take happy baby, taking the pinky toe sides of your feet, rock gently side to side and lengthen down through your low back. It's a nice stretch on the lower back. And then let's extend or release that. Extend the legs out and allow your feet to just flop open to the sides. Draw your shoulder blades down away from your ears. Soften your shoulder blades and soften your jaw. And rest. I'm just going to be here for a couple of minutes, so just rest quietly, and in a moment I will read our quote for this class. So as we move through our poses, I like to think about moving through them as if you're moving through water. My yoga teacher talks about this quite a bit. So we want our movements to be nice and fluid. And this is a quote. It's called Wind Flow Grace by Feng Liu. And it's about the Tao, and the Tao is the natural order of things, or the way. It says, Tao is often described as the watercourse way, or following the way of the wind flow. Contrasting with self-conscious striving of most people, followers of the Tao naturally swim downstream and catch the wind, enjoying the art of sailing, instead of rowing the boat and pushing against the current. So it's making our way back up, sitting up nice and tall. Take a moment honoring, respecting yourself. I want to thank you so much for practicing today. Hands to the forehead, reminding us to have clear and loving thoughts. Hands to the heart for clear and loving intentions. And taking the hands to the mouth, clear and loving communications. Thank you so much. Namaste. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sending donations. We really, really appreciate that. And if you can't donate, then just please tell a friend and help to spread the word for our free yoga classes. Have a wonderful day and namaste. Bye.